All right. Hello, everybody. It's Michele Maher here again, and I'm here today with Dwayne Richards. Thank you very much, Dwayne, for giving me your time to be here to discuss the current pandemic that we're going through and how everybody's feeling about it. Dwayne, if you can just let us know a bit about you and what you do.
Yeah, first off, thanks, Michele. It's nice to be on this side of the table. Sometimes I think you were one of my early guests
Yes.
a few years ago on my podcast. I was interviewing because we had something in common. In case people don't know, we were both CPAs, and we both spent a good chunk of our previous lives in that corporate world of big business. So, and today it's obviously getting better and getting clear about telling people what it is that I do. So it's tax season right now, so we're right up to it with doing tax returns for small business owners. I am a licensed financial advisor, but I like to refer to myself more as a financial wellness, because it's taking our temperature of taking the temperature of our money and our finances, and just three things. How many things? Three things. Uh, health, wealth, and health, wealth, and happiness. Like they say, if you don't have your health, you don't have your wealth. And not so much about retiring, but what makes us happy. Because we could work our whole life for retirement, and as we saw what the markets go to do to us in a week, it really could postpone our retirement. I don't plan to retire. I love what I do now, and so it's more about what truly brings us happiness, and work towards that.
True. Yes,
Sounds good.
true.
Sounds good. It's just good to remember it when things go sideways and all of a sudden clients cancel, or clients postpone, or clients the markets and the economy, and we're socially distancing. It's to remember
Yes.
why we're here, just to be human.
Yeah, right. And it was so hard to not get sucked into the whole fear, as we were speaking about, when everything just kind of went downhill. To me, I think the start of it was when the NBA suspended their season. I thought, wow, like they're canceling sports. That never happens.
Serious.
Like, this is serious. And I don't watch sports, except of course I did when the Raptors won. Watched all that, of course. But yeah, and then it seemed like fear and panic, and the whole scarcity mindset. Um, I guess it's survival mechanism, going back to basic human emotions of survival, and everybody ran to the grocery store thinking that we got to stock up.
Mhm.
And then the fear just spiraled, right, as anything. And then if you start looking at the stock market, what it was doing, which is also, that's the whole thing. Once the markets start going down, then it just spirals, because everybody gets into that panic mode.
Yeah, the good thing was I was away, so if any of my clients were trying to call me, we were up outside of Ottawa in a tiny home off the grid, like literally off the grid, solar,
Oh,
compostable toilet,
oh,
less than 400 square feet of living space, and it was fantastic because we did have we still had cell phone reception. We didn't have internet. We had a power to recharge our phones, so we could still be in contact, but we were removed from it. The only time, like, we knew what was going on. Like, we went into Ottawa on Saturday to buy a birthday cake for our friend, and we saw like no potatoes, and like the pasta aisle was cleaned out, and the toilet paper aisle was already cleaned out, and the laundry soap was cleaned out, and it was just yeah, you're being more aware of it when it didn't necessarily impact us directly because we were off. And yeah, the great thing
right.
was the tiny home was at the bottom of the hill. There was a guy with his own microbrewery, so we just walked down the hill, and there was like the beer was on tap. So it was fantastic if anyone wants to try it out. But you're right. It was interesting because it changed our perspectives to say, because it seems like we always had those things to be our escape. So like whether it would be television with escaping for hockey or basketball, or canceling the baseball season, or like the NFL, that like their draft and things and March Madness, like, geez, they canceled March Madness. So not even just the
Yeah.
professionals, but the college players where that impacts kids. And then now it's our kids, like our university and college students, coming home, and our kids our two kids are both in high school, to say, well, what's going on with the high school. But in the grand
Just
scheme of,
everything.
yeah, but in the grand scheme of it, it's like, well, this will be a year. Again, the work that that I do with my mentor from a spiritual point of view, it's like, well, this is a, not to not to bypass anybody on it, but it's an experience, right? So 2020 will be the year that, hey, we missed a chunk of like school, and it really makes the kids interested, because now they're like, I'm bored. It's everyone's dream is to sit at home and watching Netflix, and then you're like, well, I'm kind of bored after a week of that, bored after playing some video games, and now they're realizing it's like, oh, we need actually something. We need something more, which becomes and we're experiencing it, where we need that personal interaction, that personal connection. That's the
Right.
piece when we're being forced to, or being asked, not quite forced yet, being asked to stay at home and self isolate. That becomes a great opportunity for business owners to kind of work in their business and on their
Yes.
business. But it's a little bit challenging, because we are social, and we are humans, and we're social creatures.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And even my daughter, she was saying that she was saying, I want to go back to school.
Yeah.
Now they just announced today, right, that they're not going back April 6th. I didn't think they were anyhow, but she had said, I want to go back then, when it says I don't want to be, staying home longer. And she really is missing going out with her friends, where she used to always, go to the mall or go to Starbucks and hang out, and movies and things like that. Really missing that. And for me, what I had all the events lined up, right? I had
Mhm.
all kinds of events lined up. I had made sure this year that I was signing up for certain, so that I kind of had a steady stream of events going. And then, of course, one was canceled after another, and now there's,
Yeah.
now it's all, who knows what's going to happen in terms of everything. Now we see that they're not. Canada's not sending anyone to the Olympics. I'm guessing that the Olympics will be postponed. Um,
You'd hope so. Yeah, in a way, you kind of
I
hope
would
so.
think
And
they're going to do that, but it might be some time before they do, because
yeah,
they've already gone. They started with the flame, right? I think it was yesterday or 2 days. Yeah. So anyhow, it's just, there's a lot of fear and panic, and we don't want that. We like you say, from a spiritual point of view, we were all going crazy, running around, like going a mile a minute from place to place, saying we didn't have time. And now we're being forced to sit there and
do the
reflect and be.
yeah, and kind of do the work. Like I said, for myself, I have clients that, it's tax season, so we have clients to do taxes. I have clients to onboard onto QuickBooks. So now it's the, like, sit down and we're forcing us. We have nothing but time again to sit down and actually do the work. And then some of it is, it's the heavy lifting work too. It's the, like we talked about, it's the evaluating the, okay, is this, the, people are saying, is this the business model that I was building this business model. I was on a call this morning with a client. So we're building these business models around events, retreats, seminars, live events. And then, like, with the flick, like the switch, it's that model kind of gets either put on hold
Gosh.
or flushed. And you're like,
Yeah.
now what? Like, what do I really, and this is where I work with my clients. We say, well, what is it that you really want? As opposed to, like, we have the vision boards and people saying this is what, people want to be financially free, but they don't know what their number is, or even how to calculate the number. So that's the fun part, where we're working with my clients now, is actually have a couple of clients that we've actually worked through it. There we go again. Hey,
Yeah.
so it's funny because you've done personal development, you've done different things in the world of personal development,
Yep.
and everyone's goal, it seems like everyone's goal our goals whereas around financial, like being financially free. And so now the exciting part that I get to do right now with clients is we're calculating it. We're actually doing the math. Imagine it's just math. But the fun part is also looking to say where we are today and what do we want. And it's a good time to reflect to say, okay, as different things have shifted, our business models have shifted, our RSPs have, the bottom have dropped out of our RSPs possibly. But just remember, unless you're retiring tomorrow, there was still the long-term plan. Like I just turned 48 last week, so I still have a good 20 years. And we know that the markets come back, right? We know that they're very cyclical. We've recovered from 2008. We've fully recovered from 2008. The real estate's recovered from 2008. So we just have to remember what path that we're on. Go back and review what your long-term goals were, and then hold the course. And the reason that the panic happened was it's the short term, right? The short term, the immediate cash flow. To say, I can't. If one of my customers goes out of business, especially with your like where as an accountant, if my customer goes out of business, well then that's one less customer. It's not like I lose them. I do lose them, not because they didn't like my services, because they're not around anymore. And that has a direct impact on us a bit. They're impacted on their lifestyle. So they're gonna say, well, I'm not going to buy that piece of jewelry because I need to make my mortgage payment. But if we go back to say what is it that we want? And that's what we end up doing. And we talked about it before we hit this record button about one of the services I do with clients is cash flow planning, both short term, medium term, and long term. Say, what's the cash flow that you need immediately? And what's the long term flow look like? What do you want to fund? Vacations, houses, retirement, education for our kids? What do those different things look like? And actually put it on paper. So then when we have these short-term hiccups, we're able to pivot and be able to adjust without having to panic, because we're consciously aware of our awareness of our money and our awareness of our finances. Because I did it in the past, back in 2008, we went through some things and went through a separation and a divorce and became really detached from my money and got ourselves into trouble because we just weren't consciously aware of what we were spending, spending with kids and doing all this buying of stuff.
Right.
Stuff.
Right. And
Now,
and now what does your stuff do for you?
yeah, so
Uh,
when we sold the house, you sell it in a garage sale for like pennies on the dollar, and you're like, uh, now that we don't want stuff, but it's about experiences. Like I said, for my birthday last week, we went and stayed in a tiny home. And then you realize like, man, you don't really, you need even less stuff when you live in a smaller space. Um, not to be,
right.
not to like go completely off the grid. I still love where we live downtown and close to the St. Lawrence Market. I love
Yeah.
that. But we also realize is that we live in a smaller space because we can, when we need to, we can adjust our spending without feeling the immediate pain, without the immediate pain of a big house with large
Right.
heating bills and just like not having a large mortgage is really is really nice right now because we don't have to call the bank to say, can I, is it okay if I miss my mortgage payment next month?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's true.
But also
It's
understand that there's people there that, still want that. And then we say the great thing is working with my clients is everyone's personal. It's plans, like your plan's different than another person's plan, which is a different plan. And that's the great thing of working with a financial professional is that people get to build their plan. What do you want? It's different than what my other clients want. But that's the fun
right.
part. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah, that's true.
And then just as a quick note, I was saying that we're reading this new book, which is Kyle Keese. It's the illusion of money. It's just an illusion. So the stock market, yeah, the stock market went down. It's not an illusion, but it's on paper. But
Yeah.
it it only impacts you if you cash out. If
And if you panic
you
and
panic and hit the
decide
sell
sell,
button,
sell, sell.
and then you miss the bounce because it's so, and don't say it's the financial guys just saying the speak. They teach the speak to them. It's like, but if you miss the bounce, right? So it goes. But if you miss that, and there's historical evidence showing that you can't time the markets,
You
right?
can't time it, I know.
No
Yeah.
one can time the market because they show over the last 50 years those bounces. If you miss those bounces, it has a big impact
Huge,
on your
huge
portfolio.
impact.
Yeah. So just
Yeah.
remember that if you were in the market, yes, if you were in the market 2 weeks ago and you loved, I can't give stock tips. I'm not licensed, so don't run and buy this stock. But if you liked a certain bank stock, and if you liked it 2 weeks ago, it's still a good deal. It's even better deal today because it may be down. If you like
Yeah.
utility companies, it was good last week. It's on sale.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
Because
True.
the average person didn't have the cash. It's not like Warren Buffett sitting there with not everyone's Warren Buffett sitting there with pools of cash waiting for the sale to happen.
Right.
Person is is cash challenged. A lot of people are.
Yes. Oh, definitely.
Canada.
But what you need to,
They-
like we were saying too, though, it's if people are gonna, all the small businesses, a lot of small businesses are really gonna face a lot of challenges now
Yeah.
because you're shut down. Like the small stores, and they just announced tomorrow, after tomorrow, all the non-essential businesses are going to be forced to shut down.
Yeah.
So, like my hair, my hairdresser who does my hair, she owns the salon over there. Um, she owns the salon. Her husband works at a restaurant, and her daughter is a teacher. All three live in the house. All three don't have a job anymore, basically.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's the way it is. And what can she do? She can't do any hairstyle stuff remotely. She can't do that at all. So
Well, she could maybe teach us how to
she
cut
could
our
teach.
own hair.
She could, but that's
In case anyone doesn't actually recognize me, I took the razor to my own face this morning, just in case people didn't recognize. So there is a Charmin
yeah.
girlfriend threatened to take the clippers to my hair if it gets too shaggy. So we'll all have.
Well, that's what's gonna happen when we're all quarantined like this. That's why there's some of those memes going around.
But if that's our biggest, but again, if that's our biggest problem, uh, we kind of jump on the old, like that's a first world problem, right? Like if we have long hair, if we have bad
Oh,
hair, if we have some gray, some gray hair showing, that's a pretty small price to have to deal with.
oh, it is, yeah.
Correct.
But it's
Correct.
just the small businesses that
Well,
have no money coming in.
yeah,
And now what are they going to do to get over the cash flow, get through the next few months, that kind of thing.
yeah,
And the one, I guess the one thing to realize or to think of is how the interest rates are so low, right? It came down, prime came down twice.
yeah,
So it's pretty, small. So hopefully there's
yeah.
ways to,
Again, people just have to be cautious of that because it came down so quickly that it can, like, not that they're going to purposely take it for a ride back up quickly, but
no,
just remember that
short
the
term.
increases were short term. Yeah, so I think but again, there's lots of people will step up where there is private lending. There's people will end up doing second mortgages and will borrow against the equity in their home. So maybe people won't pay down their mortgages. They're on a trajectory to be mortgage free in 5 years, and
Yeah.
now maybe they'll be mortgage free in 10 years, to be able to leverage some of that. And then the only caution I would tell people is, and being a business owner myself, is to be just really cautious of, because sometimes we get in do stuff around behavioral spending where we, in for a penny, in for a pound, um, where we continue to um, put money into things that we're possibly not like we're cash losers already, and then we add to it. So again, it's not to tell people to stop their passions and cancel their businesses, but also just is a good time to also evaluate, say, is throwing more money into the sinking ship isn't necessarily the best first option either. Where I think,
Right.
again, the banks are going to be flexible, and that's the key. Like, again, we don't need to go into the whole spiel about what the government announced, but one of the key ones, I was talking with a client this morning, is to say, like, call your bank, like call the credit card company, call the mortgage, call your loan, like your car loan financing company, because they are gonna evaluate it case by case, and they're not gonna. No one wants to go out and foreclose on your house, and no one wants to repo your car, because it's so much easier just to delay the payments, knowing that
Oh
this
yeah.
is majority of it is going to be a temporary thing. We just don't know how temporary, because it could feel like someone said, Monday feels like a really long week already.
Yeah. It does. It does. It
So just
seems
have to
like so
be,
long ago.
yeah. So it's the great thing is, but there's also amazing things that come out of things like challenges like this. Where in my business, we're embracing technology as a financial advisor, so I can actually meet with a client and do a presentation remotely and fill out an online e-application, and I could actually sell a life insurance policy remotely, which is amazing, because it says that I can now service clients in all of Ontario without having to drive 5 hours
Right.
to meet you. So there's things like that. There's people are doing yoga and doing energy healing. People that I realize that
Yes.
I can do Reiki. I can't do physical massage to you from like through the camera, but I can do energy work and great things, like with having Zoom and technology and things that we can maybe run our businesses a little bit more efficiently. I know you've even posted, right, to say that I've been able to book like multiple calls, multiple meetings, doing presentations, and
Yeah.
really being able to pack, like being super productive in a small window of time each day, because we're not sitting on the Gardner, we're not sitting on the
We don't
401,
have to
we're not sitting on
drive.
the, we're not driving. I was at Jane War's, our virtual sell on the spot marketplace last week, so we didn't have to drive out to Ajax. I still like doing in-person stuff. I value
Oh yeah.
that, but we're like, maybe like once a month, maybe it's good, okay to do a virtual thing, because I can save time by not having to save time and money by not sitting in the car and
You
burning gas.
do. Yeah, it's true. You do save a lot of time when you don't have to be
Yeah.
taking into account the travel time. Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Just remove the distractions, right? Because if we're doing this piece, it's okay. Turn off the phone and the TV. Don't say, "Oh, I'm gonna sit and watch some training," because we know that people, all of a sudden because if you're not conscious, if you're not in the, it's different if you're in person. You can't go wandering. If I'm watching on my laptop, I could go make get a cup of tea and make a sandwich, and we're half conscious
True. Yeah,
working from home. So it's um, I
that's
don't have any
true as
pets,
well.
but I know all the pets are loving it, because the homeowners are the homeowners are now home all day. Um,
Yes.
yeah, it's yeah. Anyway, we can talk
Yeah.
about maybe what I'll give you. Maybe it'll be a good time to use that. You have a bottle. I got to call you out on one of these days. You have a bottle a lot like this. So yours.
Yes.
This is actually, it's a brand new
Oh,
essence. Melissa Jolly they just came out a couple of weeks ago, and it's coral, so it's the Jupiter energy. But it's the coral. It's a coral dragon, so it's actually a female. It's a female energy, um, and it has this fantastic. And it's all about being able to put people in a coral bubble and just being protective. So my girlfriend Charmaine, so she put it on and sprayed it and gave herself, as she still went to the bank today to go to work. So you just give a little blast of it, and we'll send it out.
oh,
Anybody who's watching today, they can have a little blast of coral. And coral is the Jupiter energy, which is it's abundance and
yes,
joy.
yes. That's the
Yeah,
bottle that I have is coral.
Yeah. So you didn't use it, but I have the spray version of it now, so I can spray it and I can send it to you from a distance and give you that little. It's all about the corals, all about the body and unconditional self acceptance.
Right. Yeah.
We accept ourselves unconditionally. Start at home. Start with ourselves, unconditional self acceptance, and then we're good for whatever goes on in the world.
Right. Yeah.
Start
And
at home.
that's what this is giving us, the chance to do that, to sit and reflect and decide what we want to do and what we want to become. And for anybody out there who has always wanted to do something
Hey,
uh,
there's
on the
hopefully.
side, like you were saying.
Yeah, we'll plant that little seed that there's the tax advantage. Just do it for the tax advantage. Have a side. If you're still in a job, and jobs are fantastic because jobs are cash flow, and you're doing a valuable thing. But what I found is after 18 years is that I was driving in my car around for 18 years, and I had a phone and my house and my internet were all expenses. They're daily expenses to those that
Mm-hmm.
have a job. We don't have many tax deductions, but by having a side hustle, by whether it be network marketing or making jewelry or building websites or my kids shovel snow, by having a side hustle, all of a sudden you get tax advantages or tax deductions, as we say. Now your home office, your cell phone, your internet, your
Yeah.
car, all that stuff. So you don't even have to spend any extra money. We just show you how to make your everyday expenses tax deductible. And tax deductible, and this is what I finally had a colleague of mine, I saw her yesterday. I'm not supposed to see people, but we were in the same place yesterday for a minute. We kept our distance. And I said, all the work you're doing in personal development, all those courses you're taking, you're getting a pension. And you know that if you just claim the self-employment status, all that personal development would become tax deductible against the income tax you pay with your pension. And she's like, oh, I'll call you. That's the big one.
Right.
It's really, especially when people are getting on, because we love people love personal development. And if you
Yeah.
have the side hustle, then personal development expenses can be tax deductible.
Right. Right. And there's so much that you can do. Like there's so many online businesses that you can start as well. Like this is the time to sit back and be creative and start thinking about what you can do, what you liked, what you've always liked, what you liked as a kid. Go back to using your imagination.
Imagine, and that's what it actually talks about this book, is to say we're limitless in our imagination and our creativity and our abundance. And what happens is we focus in our head on thinking, and we focus on the money piece, and we don't realize that we're like your business. Your business is all around imagination and creativity,
Hmm.
and
Right.
you're converting. Creativity is being converted into money. It's not money being converted into creativity. Money isn't giving you creativity.
Right.
Creativity is giving you money.
Hmm. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
That's what he talks about in his book, is it's just to focus on that piece first, and then the money. Really, it's one of those things. Like one of my mentors was love joy and money. Figure out what you love, make sure it's joy, bring joy, and money flows. Money flows when there's love and joy. No
Yeah,
love,
and you're serving, right? You're
serving.
serving others. That's what it's all about, serving others.
Yeah. But then also then do it, but put economics behind it too. That it's
Yeah.
okay. The money is the exchange. Say if I deliver a service to you, if I do your tax return, so that I don't burn out, so I don't become the servant. I do your taxes for you, and then you pay me.
Yeah.
That's the exchange. So that's the exchange that's the economics of energy. To say that we can exchange energy, or we're still in an economic economy where we need, we still need money to pay the mortgage, to put gas, to buy groceries, and to buy
Right.
toilet paper. So if we have money, we can buy toilet paper. If you don't have any
Well,
money,
if you can find it. Yeah.
you're not buying toilet paper, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all right, thank you so much for your time today. It's good to see you. It's
Oh, thank you.
everybody should be doing this. Everyone should be calling up a friend and doing a video chat once a day just to connect with them.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's great that we have this technology to do so.
Yeah,
Um, so thank you so much for your time, and I will put your information underneath the when I put this up onto the group.
yeah.
And that's again, thank you,
Good for
and
you.
that's great. And I will say bye to everybody right now. And thanks again. Dwayne.
Yeah, wonderful. Thanks.